This video is intended to describe a lightblade wand named Light, based off the tried and true high pink ray concentration platform, normally known as the Love Shine platform, but at the behest of the recipient shall be named Light. Joining me today will be my whimsical stick figure chakra map, which I'll be using quite a bit for many reference points for different stimulations of the entirety of this vast construct. And without further ado, I shall discuss the primary blade band scaffolding seen like so, which resembles vaguely a figure 8 as the foundation of the device. Starting off with the transmutation ratio seen right here, consisting of hematite and smoky quartz in ignition sequence like so, going like this, all the way down here, lateral band, all the way down this hand band, now concealed by this lovely white leather, to this lateral band, going up here to be a quadrant of the transmutation ratio underneath this leather as well, completing this circuit that is no longer visible, as well as the engine band or the heart band of, once again, the transmutation ratio of hematite and smoky quartz. Hematite is a fantastic iron-based mineral that works very effectively to take all excess energies and firmly ground it and root it through the root chakra into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. In tandem with smoky quartz, which provides much the same energetic stimulation function to the auric field to provide extreme grounding of all excess energy through the root as well into the earth stars and into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. Hence the two will be employed together to be the transmutation ratio. So naturally having a very strong rapid transfer grounding pathway for this energy encourages many aspects of taking all the excessive energy of this highly diversified construct and firmly grounding into the earth for a tangibility of the vibratory invocation, as well as being its own tremendous purification etheric dialysis to encourage the energy contact patch into the earth for reprocessing and transmutation negativity into positivity by firmly grounding the energy of Mother Earth for recirculation. And starting off with the pink ray focus of this blade band right here would be 9 clear quartz, indicative of new chapters beginning, is numerological aspect of 9. Going into golden healer quartz in a much more whiter gradients, intentionally through this entire construct to have more of the theme of light being a heavy concentration of honoring the crystal ignition order that has been deemed the archetype. So golden healer quartz is an incredible high heart stimulant of gold-white light source alignment connectivity. So when it comes to aspects of metaphysical vibrational engineering, that concept is irreplaceable for being a direct source of creation attunement frequency being utilized as a subcapacitation of a heavy pink ray high heart love activator. Going into the, thank goodness, famous and common rose quartz right here. Rose quartz, of course, is a quintessential high heart pink ray divine love stimulant. Then going into rutilated quartz to work as clear quartz with bands of rutile in the structure to further intensify the octave, going into kunzite. Kunzite is a fantastic, another pink ray crystal of high lithium content, which brings extreme soothing to the nervous system. Then going into golden healer quartz, rose quartz, rutilated quartz, and kunzite, and so on, igniting all the way till it grounds back into the transmutation scaffolding to complete the primary blade band circuit, going into a strong grounding foundation. So the aspect also of why the figure 8 is quite critical is to be a very efficient way to recirculate the energy of this entire closed loop network, to of course govern the excess energy through, once again, I'll say it thrice, the figure 8 going like so to contain and redirect and ground the energy, and also broadcast a high yield of pink love shine or light frequency broadcast. So that'd be the figure 8 scaffolding discussed. Since I'm on the aspect of discussing scaffoldings of blade bands, this right here is a lateral blade band going like so at the very apex of the bottom of the blade, consisting of prehnite. Prehnite is a fantastic green ray 3rd and 4th chakra stimulant that is also a very, very tremendous master healer in its own right, and works as a very powerful soothing agent to the entire nervous system as well and bring rapid healing. And the aspect of this particular green ray frequency crystal also, in my humble opinion, makes a very clean attunement to Raphael, the seraphim of the green ray, the master healer, the archangelic spheres. So having that analog attunement of the Raphael force is quite advantageous for the healing adept, in conjunction with clear quartz to work as a neutral accelerant of the energy, going into the lovely seraphonite. Seraphinite is quite the amazing green ray crystal of being a full light body stimulant from bottom to top. It works very diligently to dismantle any patterns of dis-ease throughout the entire energy field that would be stagnations impeding natural flow that manifest as ailments. So that particular frequency is quite well employed with the holy trinity of vibrational crystals I use religiously in my life's work. Combining that of the seraphinite, the star argonite, and the Tibetan black quartz, which I wanted to mention right away before I discuss them individually, as a very dynamic full flow healing capacity. So the aspect also of the clear quartz going into the prehnite, into clear quartz and seraphinite is the very strong, rapid master healer frequency. Hence, this is a tool, spirit tool, going in the custody of a serious practitioner who utilizes the maximum for those under her jurisdiction. So that a heavy concentration of this combination of the seraphinite and prehnite can be associated with a vibrational induction of angelic divine intervention, if you would. So that's why that particular ignition sequence is quite critical to discuss as a preliminary before I go into the complex of engine section. So right here, this lovely clear quartz be the neutral heart of the engine, or basically the programmable main engine of the vibrational construct. This would, of course, put in the realms of being consciousness-assisted technology in the capacity of the recipient to, of course, run intentions and prayers through divine guidance and broadcast through the palm chakra to resonate with this whole construct to prime the amplification of the prayer in mind. Basically, it's a very loose way to put it, but I'm going to keep moving on because there's much more to cover in this whole dissertation. Then right here is a lovely clearer specimen of star argonite. Oftentimes I utilize reddish brown, but luckily for this specimen, this guy availed itself to be very indicative for the utilization of light. So the aspect of the star argonite is a calcium-based full light body activator as well that works very diligently and vigilantly to dismantle any patterns of interruptions of any kind of obstruction to the auric field from bottom to top, just like seraphinite. Hence I mentioned the holy trinity of healing frequencies. So this is a very, very advantageous, rapid, clear, and extending energies that be impeding a natural, full, functional light body activation. Hence, it's a true master healer that I employ, once again, quite religiously. Then right here is a very special variety of smoky quartz named Celestial Smoky Quartz. Just like smoke quartz mentioned before, is a fantastic grounder of negativity into positivity by firmly composting excess energy in earth for energetic dialysis. But the aspect of the celestial is quite the complexive aspect to notarize for this construct of being the growth structure of celestial is quite powerful for working as a very reactive auto-regulator governor of the entire energy platform of this device, which basically means this particular frequency attunement is very much a perfect dimmer switch to the appropriate vibrations for the wielder and anybody under her jurisdiction at any given moment, for that matter, to auto-calibrate the frequency of the highest divine good, so to speak, of... And long story short, too, because of course these get quite complex to describe, even though I discuss them almost every day, I still get to quite master in a very coherent, linear fashion that's very comprehensible to the rational mind. So the aspect of this that's quite critical too. It works like a surge protector to ensure the entire frequency pitch of this complex device is always in a perfect equilibrium with the wielder, which basically means it will either intensify or diminish at the recipient's divine blueprint's higher self-governance. Okay, I think that's enough of that, but basically it's another very important crystal for auto-adaptive capacities for the platform before us. Anyhow, moving on. So this right here is a large piece of tourmalated quartz. So clear quartz, just like mentioned before, is a very lovely neutral ambient accelerant carrier of energy that works to amplify any frequency broadcasting next to it. But the aspect of having black tourmaline naturally in the bolt works as to massively amplify the black tourmaline in the structure, which is a very effective amplification of another black ray crystal in vogue, to once again transmute negativity by constantly discharging the earth at a very rapid rate with massive amplification. Then right here would be a lovely specimen of aquamarine. Aquamarine is a cousin to beryl family of emerald, so it has quite the legendary connotation as well, and it's a very powerful cardinal water elemental stone of 4th and 5th chakra activation of great antiquity notarization. So it's quite the powerful 4th and 5th chakra stimulant. Then right here would be oceanic calcite that was of course, tumbled by the ocean for God knows how long, which means that the white ray calcite that works as a fantastic, underrated, full clear of stagnant energies from top to bottom, the crystalline resonance, is also tumbled by the ocean. So the aspect of the indelible mark of the oceanic clearing imprintation has shaped this stone, which carries that frequency very nicely in a very diverse construct. Then down here is amber. Amber, though not technically a mineral, is basically a prehistoric tree sap that's been fossilized, is a very fantastic solar transmutation agent as well that works very diligently to purify negativity into positivity and transmute negativity into positive, useful energy. So very advantageous for such a dramatically powerful love frequency generator is, of course, have plenty of contingencies to further transmute anything that is a lack of love. Then down here is the Tibetan black quartz I mentioned as part of the Holy Trinity. Tibetan black quartz from Tibet is a very fantastic full light bioactivator as well as being a very tremendous Om frequency alignment from Tibet. Of course, in the world, a very powerful, prominent region of nearly unbroken spiritual discipline of connection to creation and the Om resonance. So it's a very advantageous full light body purifier and healer as well for any kind of nerve ganglion disruptions that would be interfering with the chakra column's ideal platform. So basically, to circle back the Trinity, the Tibetan black quartz, the star argonite, and the seraphonite make for a very fantastic trio of master healers that work dynamically together to perform the same stimulation pathway, but of course with various aspects of vibrational compound interest to perform a full light body healing activation that could be quite miraculous. Oh, before I continue, I'll discuss these guys. So this right here is actually spudamine green kunzite, which is another lithium-based crystal, much like the kunzite in the main blade band, to be another green ray complementary frequency of a high lithium-based stone for the aspect of heart healing, and that quite simply. Then this right here would be black tektite, which is a product of nuclear meteorite impacting sand, carrying that extraterrestrial jolt into creation. So the aspect of black tektite, thank goodness being a black ray extraterrestrial dharmic cosmic accelerant, is a very fantastic foundational raising of the vibrations from the earth stars all the way through the chakra column, which of course is very indicative of a firmly foundational higher vibrational raising, luckily, like I said, from the ground up. So very, very advantageous for odor application and virtually a staple in all devices for that purpose. Then right here will be a very special variety of serpentine named infinitite, which is a very fantastic, rare, unfortunately these days, variety of serpentine from South Africa that has a very powerful full light body activation, as well as a nice kundalini rising of the entire chakra column. Very much akin to a typical serpentine, like common serpentine from Mount Shasta seen right here. But the aspect of infinitite is quite special, is that it works very diligently to decrystallize patterns from the root, the sacrum, the solar plexus, and the heart, but most importantly for this application is any kind of stored patterns that would be not the ideal factory blueprint of one's divine connection alignment, get rapidly discharged and cleared from the system of the foundational scaffolding of the human avatar, as well as being a fantastic way to insulate etheric vibrations very intensely to shield the field, quite simply. So it's a very advantageous variety of serpentine. Then speaking of serpentine, this right here is Mount Shasta serpentine, locally sourced from quite literally my back riverbed right here, tip of my pen. Is a nice local Mount Shasta variety of special crystal that many seekers always come to get, for example. For the aspect of course, serpentine is a very powerful serpentine kundalini activator of the entire chakra column, which naturally raises vibrations from the ground up, as well as a nice cellular respiration agent in that regard as well. Then right here will be Prophecy Stone. Prophecy Stone is quite the special stone of prophecy, named by the rockhound who discovered it in Libyan desert and had an unexpected massive prophetic vision. So the aspect of Prophecy Stone is quite special, is that it's a sumo hematoid, which means it has an aspect of iron base, much like hematite, but apparently according to science, it has metals found in the structure not found on our periodic table, which quite literally makes it a space metal, which is very fantastic for very grounding experience of this high frequency induction of obviously perfect stimulation of the heavy indicative of the 6th, 7th, and 8th chakras. And then the aspect of the high earth star metal base actually makes for very powerful high vibrational grounding into the cellular structure to discharge in the earth to make it more real. So very, very fantastic stuff. Then right here is another stone quite in vogue. Even a small dose in a closed loop circuit goes a very long way, of shungite. Shungite is a very fantastic carbon-based black ray transmutation crystal to be employed in this structure to further purify any debris not in harmony of the resonance light body that be naturally in divine accordance of quantum inheritance, to discharge any of those patterns, as well as it's quite in vogue these days for the aspect of being quite famous for mitigating EMF wavelengths of unnatural emanations that could harm our subtle DNA. So it's a tremendous another purification. Luckily, it's a carbon-based crystal that makes it very compatible with our carbon avatars of humans, at least for now, until the ascension swings. But anyhow, moving on to another master heart healer that's criminally underrated, named chrysoprase. Chrysoprase is a fantastic 3rd and 4th chakra water elemental frequency stimulant that is truly a very powerful master healer of any impediments of the ideal heart chakra configuration. So any aspect of emotional debris and wounds are rapidly expanded and addressed by this particular frequencies. Hence, it's made to this very intensive love, pink ray, light frequency device. So it's a very powerful master healer for the heart chakra as well. Then to bring further intensification to this spirit tool would be fulgurite. Fulgurite is petrified lightning, literally lightning striking sand, catching the lightning in this little crystal that could be joked as a bottle. So the aspect of fulgurite was traditionally utilized by many magical practices across the world, particularly First Nation shamans have been quite prolifically notarized to resonate with the power of lightning, to intensify their prayers back to Creator and service to the people. So the aspect of fulgurite, literally mimicking the power of lightning, brings a very dynamic, rapid lightning force attunement of the rapid attunement of the light body from top to bottom, which makes a very powerful light body activator. And the aspect of resonating with lightning, too, intensifies one's prayers to a very high premium, hence the the First Nation shamans of antiquity would employ it for that purpose. And so that would be the entirety of the hood section. And before I continue on up further the length, I'll discuss the functionality of this white leather seen right here, which of course will be installed in a very aesthetic fashion once this video is fully completed, with this badging seen right here. So the aspect of the white leather hood has many purposes than just aesthetic. A, it works as a color therapy resonance to diffuse the 7 rays making up the rainbow spectrum of white light, which is a nice color therapy resonance. B, it also works to insulate this entire engine section, so the efficiency of the energy running through this band right here will actually, of course, prevent stray energy leakages, so that the device runs far more efficiently by actually insulating this frequency to complete its circuit and not leaking stray energies. And also, of course, it works to protect all these subtle stones once it's installed, so that the crystals seen terminated through here never run away, just like this organs of this crystalline entity will always stay intact, particularly with high wielding and high adventure, basically, of the recipient's travels. And you want to make sure that the device is running to an optimum, so that's a way to protect it. And also, of course, once aesthetically installed, it is a nice completing feature, but that's not the prerogative. It indeed is functional. And the aspect of utilizing an outer badging, which I could joke as a hood scoop for this entire engine, is Metatron's cube embossed. Actually, sorry, it's not embossed. It's actually a metal on top of a rose quartz slab. So obviously the heavy concentration of rose quartz has already been well notarized, but the aspect of utilizing Metatron's cube is an aspect of utilizing a symbol associated with Metatron the Archangel, the geometric master of creation, so to speak. So that's a whole long story which I'll omit, because you can always Google that, whoever's watching this, and I have much more to talk about before this is for wrapped up. So that's why Metatron's cube is there, for a very powerful order of sacred geometric symbolism. Get this guy back off and continue the dissertation. So next I'll be discussing the thumb engagement with the assistance of this rock seen right here. So this right here is designed to, of course, to actually place the thumb like so to engage the construct. So the thumb engagement right here It has a foundation of clear quartz, like mentioned back here, as well as many other parts of the construct. Works as a very nice ambient neutral exerent of energy, particularly invocations or prayers of the wielder to run the current of the soul energy through the entire construct. So the aspect also of the clear quartz being the foundation of this has a blade band around it. So, starting off with clear quartz to be once again a neutral accelerant of energy, going into morganite. Morganite is a very special pink ray beryl, which means it's emerald's pink ray cousin, which means it oftentimes has a hardness of 8.5 out of 10 on the scale of hardness for crystals, which gives it a very intense punch of the pink ray, very complementary to the heavy pink ray focus of this device, but in a more of a stronger vibration based on the atomical density of the pink ray found in beryl family. So that makes it very dynamic, very powerful, basically, to put it quite simply, a very intensified, stronger vibrational complementary frequency to rose quartz, that of divine love. Then going into clear quartz, into the lovely legendary turquoise, seen right here. Turquoise is a very famous crystal for many millennia at this point, for all across the world, which I'll omit because I'll add another 10 minutes to the video, as always. So the aspect of turquoise, why it's relevant here, is also to have a very high fifth chakra stimulation of that, combining the elements of earth, fire, water, and wind to be a very powerful stone of wholeness for this capacity. So that aspect also makes it very advantageous to be in the lens of compassion through higher awareness. That'd be very complementary to such a powerful, loving device. So that would be the thumb engagement seen like so. Next, we'll be discussing the components of the blade face seen right here, of course, as symmetrically as possible for even vibratory emanation on both sides. So right here will be scolecite. Scolecite is a quintessential white ray, divine. Basically, the way I describe it is it's the quintessential stone of divinity. So scolecite is a very fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakras back to one's higher self Godhead stimulant, but also works as an incredible divine witness self perspective alignment frequency of great power and quite simply divinity. So the aspect of having that intensive divine connection inner peace, obviously, is a very powerful transcendence frequency of extreme calming of the system through divine resonance. That's once again very complementary to the pink ray focus of the primary blade band. Then going right here would be lepidolite, which is a very fantastic potassium lithium based purple ray crystal of the water elemental spectrum that has the most absolute soothing serenity frequency induction for the entire nervous system and the auric field and the emotional body. It is the quintessential Zen bliss frequency as well, and so it makes a very, very, very powerful, soothing, alleviating frequency, very complementary once again to the very heavy pink ray loving index. And among the same theme would be the lovely Larimar right here, a very fantastic blue ray crystal of great notoriety since it's been discovered in the early 80s. And it's a very fantastic 5th and 6th chakra stimulant of extreme oasis of calm, a very oceanic crystal of extreme soothing capacity of confidence, clarity, and very much the energies of the goddess, and also known as the dolphin stone. So a very, very, very special blue ray crystal of extreme oasis calm perception of one's dharmic innate capacity. At the very, very apex of this blade, right here would be petalite. Petalite is another clear ray lithium-based, just like kunzite, crystal of extreme third eye and crown chakra soothing stimulation. To bring a very powerful divine union peace of mind, so to speak, is the aspect of this frequency as well. So the combination of the lithium found in the kunzite, as well as lepidolite, as well as the petalite, makes for a tremendously soothing vibration that's very effective for bringing a very powerful oasis of calm, of be very complementary to the heavy love disposition of this device. And before I continue on, I'll discuss the wooden cores. So this right here is actually cedar wood, who the recipient made good friends with, an elder tree, who brought it to my custody to be sanded into the core of this device, as well as oak down here being screwed into the bottom right here, utilized from my backyard, from this guy over here, a good friend of mine. right there at the tip of my pen. And of course, the two vibrations of oak being a very dense atomical structure, and hence they're both carbon-based frequencies to align to with the human avatar. They're very advantageous for strong legendary grounding of oak, as well as the great metaphysical utilization of cedarwood, which I'll just continue on right now to keep things relevant, but that's why they're there. Cedarwood and oak, two different frequency ranges of wood. And next I'll be discussing the focalizers seen right here, then the selenite, then the kyanites at that function. So the aspect of having the large figure eight of a closed loop circuit right here, of course, these are developed to focalize and be a sharper intensification of the broadcast. So since all these different frequencies, of course, are terminated into a primary wire, a main vein of copper, brass, and silver spooled together via drill, they, of course, are running on a very perpetual closed-loop tight circuit. So by having the auxiliary of this blade banding in the installation of these points are very much intentional to be a further efficient director of frequency. So the aspect of titanium ore quartz that behind this lovely Lemurian clear quartz specimens seen right here is the aspect of titanium is a modern alchemical man-made alteration of pressure coating titanium on a clear quartz structure, which titanium is a very powerful metal for full rainbow light activation and very much a strong stimulant of physical energy, as well as any kind of sluggish, lazy chakra patterns get rapidly addressed by the power of titanium through the entire auric field to intensify and strengthen and insulate one's natural DNA blueprint of their divine disposition. So it also works a very good way to, of course, bring a strengthening of energy behind the neutral focalizers. So the aspect of Lemurian clear quartz, it also works, of course, to be the neutral accelerant of the energy of the broadcast of the recipient to intensify the output and direct it. So for example, got my good buddy right here, the sacred one-legged I'm pointing at right here. It works a very effective way to actually direct and align with resonance and quantumly entangle, if you would, to this tree right here in this camera, to be a more efficient way to actually say a prayer and do a discharge of focus. Then right here, I'll be discussing the selenites and kyanites, which I saved for last of these videos intentionally. So the aspect of selenite right here is quite the critical role, which I'll start discussing right now. So selenite is a very fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th, all the non-physical chakras back to one's higher self Godhead alignment, which works very effectively to also clear off debris between one's conscious self and one's highest self in a very dynamic fashion. As well as through that high frequency divine transmutation induction works to burn off stagnant energies through the entire auric field as well. But where it always shines in any given spirit tool is this aspect right here. So in this entire 27.5 minutes, I've been discussing all these different crystals and a closed loop circuit. It can take all of these crystals, it can purify all these emanations in a closed loop reactive circuit. It can also amplify or intensify this entire closed loop circuit. But like I always say, most importantly, it also brings equilibrium and harmonization for maximum efficiency for this entire construct. So that's always the triumphant trifecta of the purpose of this, is to once again amplify, purify, and harmonize the entire frequency pitch of this light device. Then right here would be the kyanites of black, orange, blue, and green. So kyanites are the most rapid transfers of energy in the mineral kingdom. I'll be using my pen quite whimsically fast to do my best to illustrate this with this video. So black kyanite is the most rapid transfer of energy into the Earth meridian matrix as quick as possible. That auto-calibrates faster and basically works to bridge any gaps of any ground points as absolute quick as possible. Most importantly, through the feet down, so it works as a very fantastic surge protector and also a very efficient way for the broadcast to actually successfully ground into tangibility in a very effective way as well. Then orange kyanite is a very rapid